All right, so let's get into this. First, we're going to be talking about this Denver shooting. Now, I have this article here. A security guard. See, now right off the bat, he was hired as a security guard, but he wasn't actually a security guard. So, but they claim security guard claims self-defense in fatal shooting at Denver protest. The victim was identified as a U.S. Navy veteran. So I actually have a couple pictures that I am going to show you. They are a little graphic. It's not, there's no blood or anything, but it is what was kind of transpiring. So I'm going to show those in a little bit. I just kind of want to forewarn you that I am going to show them. But let's just read about this. A private security guard jailed on suspicion of murder. Well, suspicion, I mean, he murdered somebody. They straight up, we have pictures, there's videos. He pulled his gun out and shot the man. So it's a little weird. Jailed on murder.
Until proven guilty.
Yes, or proven to have murdered somebody on video. Anyway, so on suspicion of murder charges, claims he fatally shot a U.S. Navy veteran in self-defense during a weekend confrontation that erupted amid opposing protests by right and left-wing groups in Denver, according to his attorney. Matthew Doloff, 30, who was working as a bodyguard for local TV news crew, claims he feared for his life and opened fire when the alleged victim reached into his shirt, his lawyer Doug Richard told the Associated Press. He was doing what he was supposed to do being there, or what he was supposed to be doing there, Richard said of Doloff, who was hired to protect a KUSA TV news crew covering dueling protests on Saturday in a courtroom near the Denver Art Museum and just several blocks from the state capitol building. Lee Keltner, 49, was shot to death in the confrontation with Doloff, according to the Denver Office of Medical Examiner. Keltner's death was ruled a homicide. Here are the police officers approaching and apprehending what's his name? Doloff. Police raced to the scene of the shooting and immediately took Doloff into custody at gunpoint. Doloff is being held in jail pending the outcome of a homicide investigation, according to the Denver Police Department. So this goes on, and I have another article that actually talks about all this. So I want to get to that. This is the moment where Doloff was actually he got slapped for I guess he was trying to take the mace out of the other man's hand and got slapped away. So he was assaulted. Now, I'm not saying that this was right to assault. Now, there's many images here, and I only want to. I'm just going to show one more. This is when the victim sprayed him with mace, and in the videos you don't see him reaching for his pocket, or in the rest of these photos you don't see him reaching for his pocket. He slaps the guy away and then kind of starts backing off. And as soon as the dude gets slapped, the Doloff pulls his gun and shoots him. And it's just kind of it's hard to say, like, his defense is that he was it was self-defense. Well, it's like, okay, you got slapped for trying to take mace out of the dude's hand. Now, granted, I'm making assumptions. I just want to clarify that. I am definitely making an assumption that that's what he was doing. That's what it looks like, okay, from the pictures that I've seen. And the guy slapped him, backs away. He's backing away. And the other guy, they both back away from each other. And Doloff, as he backs away, pulls his gun and shoots him right there, dead. And the defendant, or the victim, was spraying his mace, and you could see it in this picture. So, to me, that's pretty clear. It was murder. He murdered him. He shot him dead. This is the problem now. The alleged shooter. Okay, it was the shooter of a pro-Trump protester in Denver, was not licensed as a security guard, and he has a history of criticizing Trump. So now, before I read that, just look at that. He wasn't even a security guard. He wasn't licensed in the state to be a security guard. That's actually what they say. And he has a history of criticizing Trump. So not only was it murder, it is biased. Like, he went there knowing that he already had issues.
Wanted to start a fight.
Essentially, that's what I believe. Like, it seemed like he wanted someone to come at him. And the videos, there was more than one people. There was multiple people here. Tempers were flaring, right? Tempers were definitely flaring in the air. And it's funny because, sorry, it's not funny at all. It's interesting that Doloff wasn't even part of the group that were fighting and yelling angrily at each other. There's countless videos of what happened here. And you see in some of the videos that the victim who got shot, let's see, drop his name again. I have it here in the other, Lee Keltner. Yes. So Lee Keltner was actually arguing with another man and kind of backed away himself. And as he backed away, he kind of goes off screen, and that's when you have to switch to the photographs to see what was going on off the screen of the video that I'm referring to, because he was in an argument with someone else, went to go off screen, and that's when Doloff seemed to have tried to grab the mace away from the guy, and the guy slapped him, like, you're not taking this mace, and Doloff just straight backed up, pulled his gun, and shot him. And it's kind of crazy that a lot of these, like ABC was saying that, you know, security guard claims self-defense. It's like, how? You weren't, your life was not in danger. You got slapped because you were trying to take his mace. That doesn't mean you need to shoot him dead. He wasn't, he was not, his defense is that he was pulling something out of his pocket. But in all of the pictures I've seen, I have yet to see any of those motions. I saw him backing away from Doloff. I saw him, you know, spraying mace at him in response to what seemed to be like him pulling a gun. You know, Doloff was pulling a gun, so the guy was like, I'm gonna mace you. And it was like this moment of it's crazy what's happened. So let's just let me read this article. Go ahead, you got something to say?
Oh, I was going to say that you see that type of stuff a lot. It's just people who are angry, who want to, you know, be an agent provocateur. Is that how you pronounce
agent
it?
provocateur,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah. Someone who, you know, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to make things happen. I think you nailed it. An agent provocateur. He went there. I mean, he wasn't a security. You know what? Let me finish reading this, because this kind of like drives it home as far as like he shouldn't have been there in the first place. He wasn't licensed. All right, let's see. The man accused of fatally shooting a conservative protester in Denver this weekend was not licensed as a security guard, despite working as one for a local news outlet. Matthew Doloff, 30, was arrested and charged this weekend in connection to shooting and killing Denver area hatter Lee Keltner, who was attending a Patriot rally in the city. Denver Department of Excise and Licenses confirms there is no record of an active licensed security guard now or ever for an individual named Matthew Doloff, or Doloff with two L's.
You know what's funny?
What is it?
Sorry, may I?
That's all right. Yeah.
Like, they labeled him a security guard because he had a job once, a security guard. So does that mean you get to be a model for the rest of your life?
Good point. Yep. Yeah. All right. Definitely.
Here we are.
Thank
90
you.
years old.
Appreciate that. I'm gonna be a really sexy 9-year-old, I guess, right? I don't know. Mm-hmm. That took a weird spin. Okay. So if he was operating as a security guard, he was in violation of the law. Oh, well, I mean, even if he wasn't a security guard, he violated the law seriously. 9 News hired Doloff as a security guard to accompany its team to the rally on Saturday. A private security guard who was hired by 9 News is the suspect detained by DPD. 9 News reported. It has been the practice of 9 News for a number of months to hire private security to accompany staff at protests. A Denver Department of Excise and License spokesperson said Doloff was breaking the law if he was in fact acting as a security guard, as there is no record of him for the department. Don't they have any sort of screening system for this kind of thing? You know, you'd think that they would want to vet people that are going to be armed and protecting them. It's like, now 9 News is trying to...
There might be even like an entire organization around that.
Yeah. No, isn't there? I mean, as I was saying, you know, you'd think that, like, well, 9 News is like, whoa. The blood's not on our hands. The security team said that they you know, that it was a security guard. We hired them, which, they do have a point, actually. If they call an actual security guard company, say we would like to hire some security, send us 3 security guards. That security company should definitely vet whoever they're hiring to make sure they're not biased, that they're going to hey, go protect us from a bunch of Trump supporters. Oh, okay, cool. And then secretly they're thinking, awesome, because I hate Trump supporters, and this is my chance to, kill one? Because that seems to be what happened. This is ridiculous. All right, let me keep reading.
It does.
So the Denver Post reported that Dolev also had critical social media posts regarding President Trump. Rumors spread across the internet after the shooting about Dolev's potential political affiliation, in part because of a reporting error by the Post that was corrected. While Dolev's social media does criticize President Donald Trump and includes photos of the 2012 Occupy Denver protests, he does not claim affiliation with any organization. Denver police on Saturday announced the shooting suspect had no affiliation with Antifa. A review of Dolev's alleged Facebook profiles shows he shared multiple Democracy Now! Articles and Young Turks podcast in 2017, many of them reporting on Trump's alleged ties to Russia, which of course have been debunked many times over. His reported Facebook page has since focused on photos of farm animals and personal updates. Court shows that he had no previous criminal history besides traffic incidents. The Denver City Attorney's Office will weigh any additional criminal charges related to the defendant possibly operating as an unlicensed security guard once the Denver Police Department completes its homicide investigation. Ryan Lulby, a spokesperson for Denver City's Attorney's Office, said in a written statement, "The CAO is also working with the Denver Department of Excise and Licenses to weigh disciplinary action against the security guard company for hiring and deploying an unlicensed guard, one without a license, much less an armed endorsement." Exactly. He is currently being held without bond. Makes sense because he clearly shot the man dead. The shooting unfolded Saturday afternoon after an anti-communist Patriot muster rally kicked off. "It's time we let these communist socialists know we've had enough." That's a quote. A description of the event stated, "Fight back, push back, time to take our country back," end quote. A Denver communist group responded to the news of the event by holding a counter-protest called the BLM Antifa Soup Drive. All right, so it's actually a cross soup drive between BLM and Antifa. So they are actually just being open about being one and the same.
They're not being open about it. But
yes, they are.
The connections are there.
I mean, if it's straight, they're coming out. Let me read this sentence again. A Denver communist group responded to the news of the event by holding a counter-protest, which is fine, and called it the BLM Antifa Soup Drive. So communist group claiming that, labeling it BLM and Antifa. Okay, let me just wrap my head around this. So what they're saying is the BLM movement is a mask that they're wearing, and Antifa is part of their communist movement. Now, obviously, I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but it seems to fit the narrative as far as what I'm seeing. I don't like it.
Yeah.
All right, let me continue. Here's another quote. "We scheduled our action after learning that the militia fascists had called a patriot muster against Black Lives Matter movement, anti-fascists, and Marxists." A spokesperson for the Denver Communists said, "That's us. Guilty as charged and happy to oblige with our presence." Wow. My goodness. Marxism. The victim,
a little bit much.
Yeah, I agree. The victim, Keltner, was identified by his mother on Facebook this weekend. She said, "My son Lee was at the Patriot rally today in Denver," and she posted on a Northeast Arkansas Tea Party Facebook group. "He was murdered because he backed the police." Yeah, that's why they were there. They weren't there to go up against, how did they put it here? The schedule, a militia fascist had been called a muster against Black Lives Matter movement. That's not what they were there for. They were there to support the police department and to show their support for America and the president. So it seems that everyone seems to just pick whatever narrative they want and just run with that. I am rather sick of that. I don't want this to continue. We have to get our facts straight. We need to get together and learn what the truth of the matter is. A lot of people don't want to, really. You know, it just reminds me of that condescending smile that I see a lot of Democrats using nowadays. Kamala Harris did it countless times. I'm speaking. I got you. Yeah, that's right. Also known as I'm better than you and I know better than you and what I say is right and whatever you say is wrong. And that condescension is gross. It's sickening. I don't look at people and go, I know better than you. I always know that there's going to be someone out there that knows more than me. Always. There's always the case. No one can say that they know the most. No one, ever. And I will always try to learn more. But when you start acting like you know everything, it's a gross look. It's not a good look on anyone. And I feel like a lot of these people do that on both sides of the aisle are starting to. I'm not saying that it's one-sided. A lot of people are doing this. And I'm sick of it. Go ahead. What were you going to add?
No, it's a slippery slope too. You don't know you've gone too far down a path until it's already too late.
Yep, exactly. I agree. So that's so this all just happened over the weekend. Now, you know, this is a man's life has been taken. How many people need to die, you know, before we realize that this is people trying to keep us divided. And actually this kind of goes perfectly into what our next segment is, which is the contested 2020 election. So, I mean, I'll admit it myself. I think that there's fraud about. I think this mail-in voting, ballot harvesting, we've seen it. People are being sent. There was one news article about someone that received 5 ballots all to themselves. 5 ballots for one person. How does that make any sense? Why is that the case?
Their past and future selves, of course.
Precisely. Yeah. There it is. Well, that's 3, right? Past, present, and future, and then alternate dimension, and then dead.
Ooh, yeah. Bizarro
world. Yeah, maybe.